today on the Trent Out Loud podcast. But I would just like this very one important point to be heard, digested, and repeated if possible. Donald Trump wasn't convicted by a judge. He wasn't convicted by a rogue prosecutor. He wasn't convicted by Joe Biden. Donald Trump was convicted by a jury of his peers, 12 men and women that were selected by his lawyers and the prosecution. Nobody else. What up? It's your boy Trent Out Loud, and I'm back with another episode. All right, it's my favorite day of the week. It's Friday. It's Friday. Yo. We are back. We made it to another Friday. I hope y'all are feeling good as I am, and I hope you guys are excited for the weekend. I still haven't decided yet if I'm going to have a chill weekend or not, but hey, I'll let you guys know on Monday as I normally do. All right, I got a great show set up for you guys today. As you know, Friday, I normally try to keep it light, keep it quick, but a lot of stuff happened yesterday. So, of course, we got to talk about it. As you all know, I'm sure the whole world knows by now, Donald Trump is a convicted felon. He was found guilty on all 34 charges. We will talk about that. And more importantly, I'll let you know what is possible, what his possible convictions are, if he's going to face jail time or not. I think that's what everybody wants to know. All right. Then also we have two other lead stories. We're going to talk about Notorious B.I.G's mother and what she wants to do to Diddy if she ever sees him again. And then there has been another Drake reference track that has leaked. Then we're going to jump into quick news. I got an update on Vybz Kartel, if he's going to be let out of jail or not. Akademiks makes a suggestion about Drake losing close friends and one of his collaborators hating him. Then we have a teacher that's filming OnlyFans content in a classroom, and American Airlines being sued for defamation. Trust me, stick around for all those stories. They're really good. Then we're going to jump into speed news. We're going to talk about Will Smith, Khole and Kylie Kardashian, Usher and the BET Awards, and Young Miami comments on Drake having a BBL or not. Then we're going to close out the show, as we always do, with question of the day and sports news. Yo, it's Friday. Y'all know what time it is. Turn your TVs, radio, or your devices up. I'm about to start this show. Let's go. Donald Trump has been found guilty in a New York City hush money trial, and he has been convicted of 34 federal counts. He has been found guilty. Donald Trump, the ex-president of the United States of America, is now a convicted felon. All right. Former President Donald Trump has been found guilty on all 34 felony counts of falsifying business records after paying adult entertainer Stormy Daniels $130,000 shortly before the election. This decision comes after 7 weeks of testimony and is historically the first criminal trial of an American president. So I forgot to mention that this is history. This is the first time that a president has ever been tried in a criminal trial. And of course, the first time a president has ever been found guilty. What is also very important to note, because there's a lot of people online, a lot of Donald Trump supporters and a lot of Donald Trump followers, is like, this is a rigged election. This is this is a Biden case, a Biden-led conviction. Just want to reiterate stuff. I really try not to make my podcast political at all. I don't want to take sides. I just want to talk and give my point of view. But I would just like this very one important point to be heard, digested, and repeated if possible. Donald Trump wasn't convicted by a judge. He wasn't convicted by a rogue prosecutor. He wasn't convicted by Joe Biden. Donald Trump was convicted by a jury of his peers, 12 men and women that were selected by his lawyers and the prosecution. They all agreed on these 12 jurors of his peers. are the ones who found them guilty. Nobody else. These 12 people are civilians like how you and I are that were selected by Donald Trump's lawyers and the prosecutors. They all agreed on these 12 jurors. Those are the 12 jurors that have found Donald Trump guilty. Now, whether you think he's guilty or not, that's a whole other story. All I'm just saying is that there's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of hearsay that's put out by Donald Trump that he wants you to think. I just want you guys to know the facts. And please, like I said, repeat this as loud as possible. Donald Trump has been convicted of 34 criminal charges by a jury of his peers. Simple as that. Okay, now let's move on to a very important question. What happens now? So I've been Googling this and trying to find out, and this is something that I have found for you guys. As former President Donald Trump has just been convicted, a criminal trial crawls to a conclusion. Conventional wisdom holds that even if he is convicted, he is unlikely to do prison time. After all, the charges he faces are amongst New York's mid-felony, and if found guilty, he would be a first-time offender. However, don't be so sure. According to a former prosecutor from the office now charging him, this case in which Donald Trump is accused of falsifying business documents to conceal a payoff to a porn star is unlike any other. So it's hard to predict how the judge who is presiding over the trial would handle any sentencing. This is not a one-off kind of, oops, I made a mistake on a business record, or even a one-off scheme, said the reporter. A former prosecutor in the Manhattan District Attorney Office who ran the DA job since 2021, but also lost to Alvin Bridge, the lead prosecutor on the Trump case. Okay, that's not important. Blah, blah, blah. Let's move to something else here. He said, if I were the prosecutor, I would absolutely be asking for state prison time. So the maximum sentence of a crime that Donald Trump was charged with is up to 4 years in prison. If he is charged with 34 separate counts, if convicted on all of them and sent to prison, his prison term for each count would also run concurrently. Okay, so which means that's 34 times 4. So I think the answer to the question here is, and we're never going to know the answer until, I think they said it's June 11th or July 11th. The crimes that Donald Trump has committed, yes, have a maximum sentence of 4 years in prison for each crime. And he's been charged with 34 of them. So can he go to jail? Yes, he could. Is he likely to go to jail? Probably not, but he still could. So nobody has these answers yet. And how the criminal system works is they take into account when they go into sentencing, are you a first-time offender? How egregious was it? Like the article said, was it a one-off? Was it an oops? Was it this or whatever? So they're going to take all of those things into effect. The fact that he was found guilty on 34 charges and not just like half of the charges, it doesn't lead well to it just being like probation or whatever. But on the other hand, he is also the former president of the United States and the presumptive nominee for the Republican Party. So that shouldn't be taken into account. But the judge has already said to him, Mr. Trump, you are a former president and you could be a future president. So, he said that a couple times during the trial. We're not going to ignore that. So I personally think that he's probably not going to see jail for this, but I think he'll probably get a heavy probation or very strict probation. And Trump is going to appeal this. So I know sentencing is in July, but with the appeal that's coming before that, the appeal, if I'm not mistaken from what I've heard, that the appeal will have to be heard first before sentencing. Or if he is sentenced, then his sentencing doesn't take into effect after the appeal. So we're not going to know what's going to happen for another, could be a good maybe 5-6 months, even maybe a year. So that's the answer that I have found out doing my research. All that we know now is that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. What does that mean to you? I know I have American listeners, Canadian listeners, some listeners all over the world. But to my American listeners, what does that mean to you? If you were a Trump supporter and you were voting for Trump, does this mean that you will still vote for him even though that he's a convicted felon? Again, just to remind you, he was convicted by a jury of 12 of his peers. To me, that means a lot because you're not there in a courtroom for 7 weeks every day hearing everything. Like these 12 people heard everything and they think that he's guilty. But does this mean to you that you'll still vote for him? And finally, I have said this before on my podcast, and I just want to let a lot of you guys know that according to the law in America, not only can you be a president if you've been found guilty of a crime, but you could be the president even if you're in jail. So if Donald Trump is sentenced and he has to go to jail, he could still run for president, win the presidency, and be the president from jail. I know it's crazy, but that is American law. So anyways, send me an email, trendoutloud@cfqr600.com, comment underneath this YouTube video, or send me a DM at any of my social handles at @TrentOutLoud. All right, this brings us to our second lead story. Okay, it's kind of weird to talk about Donald Trump, the president of the United States, and then talk about Biggie's mom. But yo, this is an entertainment show. I got to do what I got to do. All right. So Notorious B.I.G's mother, Voletta Wallace, comments on the allegations against Diddy and the footage of him assaulting Cassie. She says she wants to slap the daylights out of him. There has been many people weighing in on the continued controversy surrounding Diddy following multiple lawsuits that have been filed against him, as well as a video footage that shows him assaulting his ex Cassie back in 2016. Recently, Voletta Wallace, the mother of the late Notorious B.I.G., spoke with Rolling Stones magazine about Diddy's ongoing troubles, and she didn't hold back her thoughts. She said to the publication, "I'm sick to my stomach. I'm praying for Cassie. I'm praying for his mother. I don't want to believe the things that I've heard, but I've seen the hotel video. I pray that he apologizes to her." Voletta Wallace continued, "I hope that I see Sean one day, and the only thing I want to do is slap the daylights out of him. And you can quote me on that because I liked him. I didn't want to believe all the awful things, but I'm so ashamed and embarrassed." As previously reported, sources shared with CNN recently that federal investigations are reportedly preparing to bring the accusers of Diddy in front of a grand jury in NYC. So this alludes back to the story that I reported on yesterday with Rolling Stones talking to 50 people from Diddy's past, associates, workers, and friends. And while I was talking about that and reading from the Rolling Stones, they said some people didn't want to be named. Clearly, Big's mom was like, yo, you quote me on that. You let me know. I think it's more coming from a mother's perspective, saying, I want to slap him. More of just like, hey, like you were like a son to me. I loved you. I really liked you. I'm really disappointed. She even said there, if you listen, was that, hey, I didn't want to believe these things, but now after seeing the video, how can I not believe these things? And, so yeah, that's that. If that's Big's mom saying that and turning against him and talking to Rolling Stones, I wonder if we're going to see, as time rolls on, more and more people from this Rolling Stones article that's going to come forward. Then you have 50 Cent and Netflix documentary. Who's going to be on there? I mean, that's camera, that's video. You're actually going to see people. I wonder what celebrities are going to say. Like, whoo! Like I said yesterday, man, it's over for Diddy. I think at the end of the day, I don't think Diddy even cares about any of this. Diddy is literally just trying to stay out of jail at this point. Like, if I were him, I wouldn't care about anything. B.I.G's mom, nobody, 50 Cent, Netflix. If I was Diddy, I would just be literally trying to stay my butt out of jail, man. It's over for him. All right, this brings us to our third and final lead story. This probably should have even been in quick stories because I don't have too many details on this. But there's a new reference track that has leaked Drake, the song Mob Ties. Mob Ties is going at Kanye, and it was that Pusher beef time. And I'm not sure how I feel about this. I just wanted to put it in here quickly. I want you guys to let me know how you feel about it. You all know I'm a big Drake fan. I'm a big Drake supporter. I'm always in his corner. And I've always said that I'm a little bit biased. But if it's a song, a party song, doing whatever, but it doesn't matter who writes it, right? It doesn't matter if you have help. But if you are penning a diss track towards another man, another person, who cares who it is, man or woman, do you need to write that yourself? Because if you're talking from your own experience, then I think you need to have penned it yourself. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think. Send me an email, trynoutloud@cfqr600.com. Comment below or send me a DM at any of my social handles, trynoutloud. I'm really on the fence. Normally, I'm on one side or not, and I'm very clear. You guys know me by now, but I really don't know. Help me figure this out. Let me know in the comment section below or send me an email. All right, this brings us to quick news. Ring my bell. Vybz Kartel denied bail by Supreme Court. Murder charge remains in effect. Dancehall artist Vybz Kartel has been denied bail after a London judge overturned his conviction. The Privy Court has ordered that the case be returned to Jamaica Appeal Court to decide whether a retrial is necessary on the 2011 murder of Clyde Williams. Okay, so although that the Supreme Court has denied bail, it just means that he can't come out of jail yet. So, and that means that the murder trial still stays in effect. But it doesn't mean it's over yet, okay? The Jamaica court can still decide if there should be a retrial or not. So it's not totally over for Vybz yet, but it's not looking good. We'll stay up to date and let you guys know what happens. All right, this brings us to our second quick story. DJ Akademiks says one of Drake's well-known collaborators hates his guts. And Akademiks asks, how come everybody hates him? Here's a little clip.
I found out Drake has an op that none of us know that is a huge rapper that we all think is his friend. I found that out like 2 days ago. I won't even drop the name.
So I did a little bit of research poking around, and people are saying it's Travis Scott. At first, people were saying 21 Savage, but Akademiks was like, no, it's not him at all. But people are thinking it's 21 Savage because don't forget, 21 Savage was on stage with Metro and Future. And remember, he was asking them to play like that. And we all know that Travis is a big collaborator with Drake, right? And I mean, who else could it be? Because, I mean, Drake collaborates with a lot of dudes, but he said a well-known. And all the well-known people have come out and already been like, yo, we hate Drake. So Rick Ross has come out. Future has come out. Kanye West has come out. So there's already been a lot of people hating on him already, right? So the only one that hasn't necessarily come out is Travis Scott. But, yo, I don't know. I was about to say, like, I feel sorry for Drake, but I don't know. I don't feel sorry for him because I don't really know what it's about. A lot of people are saying he brought this on himself, but that's something I think that, like, the fans shouldn't really get into because that's a personal thing, right? Like, but ultimately, as long as Drake has his crew, you know, Boy Wonder, OVO 40, you know, his team of producers, I know that Drake's hits and Drake's career was not made from all these other artists. Like, you know, it definitely helped him being on these other artists or well-known artists' track, but he bodied every track that he was on. Like, we all listened to those tracks for Drake's verses. So 100%, like, will Drake be as effective only putting out his own music and not featuring on other well-known artists? Of course. But I'm like, we're 15 years into Drake. You know what I mean? Like, he'll definitely hop on new artists, like how he does with Sexy Red and whatever unknown artists that we don't know that are coming up. All of them will still definitely take a Drake feature. And then the new crew that's coming up, they'll be the new hot, you know, rappers, and, you know, Drake will be rapping with them. So anyone who's well known right now, I think they're doing a disservice to themselves not having Drake, because Drake has always upped their track more than I think that they have helped his track. But hey, that's just my opinion, and I'm always biased when it comes to Drake. All right, this brings us to our third quick story. A former teacher in Houston, Texas, has been accused of allegedly filming explicit content during office hours on school grounds. Now, I'm always one to stand up for OnlyFans models. Yo, do what you think. It's safe instead of being in a strip club or being on the street. But a teacher filming content at a school on school grounds, yo, y'all are wildin', man. According to Fox 26 Houston, an educator employed at Lorem something Gray Elementary School. Wow, it's an elementary school in Richmond, Texas, was seen in a shocking video filmed inside of a classroom. The video included clips of her exposing herself, and the content was viewed via her OnlyFans account. If she would do this in a classroom, what would she do next? A Houston activist said when he spoke to Fox 26, expressing his shock and concern for the future of the education and the people leading it. Although the incident is now public, the name of the teacher has not been disclosed, and further investigation is currently underway. Okay, I have a little clip from, what do they call this guy? An activist. You should hear this activist describe the teacher and what he saw in the video. It's actually hilarious. Listen to this.
It is absolutely appalling that these are the type of educators that are in an elementary school teaching our children and showing everything on the video, and all you could see was cellulite hanging in pubic hair.
All you could see is cellulite and pubic hair. This guy is hilarious. Anyways, yo, throw that teacher to the streets, yo. All right, in our fourth and final quick story, 3 black passengers file a lawsuit against American Airlines for discrimination after claims of being removed from a flight over body odor complaints. 3 men are suing American Airlines after they say they were among 8 black men who were removed from flight 832 from Phoenix to New York in January due to body odor complaints. According to CBS News, a lawsuit was filed in U.S. District Court from the Eastern Division of New York on Wednesday. The 3 plaintiffs, Emmanuel Jean, Joseph, Alan Jackson, and Xavier Veal, were on a connection flight from Los Angeles. It was noted that they did not hear any complaints about body odor prior to their connection flight. Jean Joseph recalled only seeing black men being removed from the flight as he garnered his belongings and headed to the jet bridge. The lawsuit alleges that they were held on the jet bridge for an hour before being taken to the gate area where they were told they would be rebooked on another flight. However, when another flight was not allocated, they were put back on the same plane. The lawsuit also claimed that the American Airlines employee indicated that the complaint about body odor came from a white male flight attendant. The incident was recorded by Xavier Veal, who said, "I started freaking out. The men were removed from the flight, didn't know each other, and were not traveling together." I think I might have a little clip of the actual flight attendant saying that they were moved because they were black. Listen to this.
A gate agent seen in the video at one point seems to agree race was a factor in the men getting pulled off the flight.
Just because of the color of my skin. Okay. Okay.
You hear the attendant? The guy says, "Is this because of the color of my skin?" And she says, "Correct." Anyways, I'm sure this is going to turn into a pretty big case. Y'all know me. I will follow up and let you know. But yo, American Airlines, man, I don't think I'm going to be flying with y'all very much. All right, this brings us to speed news. Ring my bell. All right, in honor of Bad Boys 4 releasing in June with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, somebody posted this from the Shade Room and said, Will Smith has been bringing in the coin from the box office from 1992. Will Smith has broken the biggest box office, most consecutive biggest box office debuts. I don't know if that's the right title. Hold on. Will Smith. Oh, here, let me read it to you. According to IMDb, Will Smith was the first actor to have 8 consecutive films gross over 1 million in domestic box office numbers. That's the fact I was looking for. Okay. So all right, let me read to you what it was. Somebody said, look at this. This will never happen again. Will Smith box office stats. Bad Boys. This Bad Boys won $141 million. Independence Day, $817 million. Men in Black, $589 million. Enemy of the State, $250 million. Wild Wild West, $222 million. Men in Black 2, $440 million. Bad Boys 2, $273 million. iRobot, $353 million. Shark's Tale, $374 million. Hitch, $371 million. Pursuit of Happiness, $307 million. I Am Legend, $585 million. Hancock, $620 million. Men in Black 3, $654 million. Suicide Squad, $749 million for Suicide Squad. Wow. Bad Boys for Life, $425 million. And Aladdin, $1.5 billion. Yo, Will Smith is the GOAT, man. I know some of you guys are still on the fence about Will and the slap with Chris Rock. And by the way, Chris Rock is my favorite comedian of all times, excluding Eddie Murphy, because he's just the GOAT. Like when we talk about Jordyn, we exclude Jordyn, like they're GOATs. But they're like gods. But yo, Chris Rock is my favorite. Like those are my two favorite people in Hollywood. But I still love Will Smith. And this was part of the reason why, man. Like he's done what no actor has ever done before, and I agree with this person. I don't think we'll ever see these kind of numbers again. So shout out to Will Smith, and make sure you guys go check out Bad Boy 4. Somebody in the promotion, please send me my check. I just plugged Bad Boys 4. I'm joking. All right, in our second speed story, Kylie Jenner opens up about her friendship with Jordyn Woods to her sister Khole Kardashian, and she said, I think we have a lot more healthy distance in the relationship. Kylie Jenner chopped it up with her big sister, Khloe Kardashian, and talked about the current state of her friendship with Jordyn Woods. She expressed that they are in a good place and that she's glad certain narratives about their friendship have ended. All right, so for those of you who remember, Jordyn Woods was caught on Tristan Thompson, native Canadian, Brampton. Is he Brampton or Mississauga? Whatever, Toronto. So there was a whole big beef between Khloe and Jordyn. It's like, yo, Jordyn, you're supposed to be friend to the family. Why are you sitting on Tristan's lap? And, did you cheat did you cheat with Tristan? It was a whole big thing. And then Kylie and Jordyn are now back friends. And, people were freaking out like, hey, why are they friends again? And this is really just as a follow-up to be like, look, it's been a couple of years. We're friends now. The press is not like all over us anymore, and we're good. I don't know why I have our Kardashian story in here. I don't even watch the Kardashians, but whatever. I kind of like them. It's Friday. Who cares? All right, let's move on. All right, this brings us to our third speed story. Usher to be honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2024 BET Awards. This year's BET Awards are right around the corner, and Usher has been announced as the recipient of this year's Lifetime Achievement Awards. According to Entertainment Tonight, BET Connie Orlando spoke about the honor and said the relationship between BET and Usher spans decades. From his multiple appearances on 106 & Park to most recently winning the Entertainment of the Year trophy at the 55th NAACP Awards. From his chart-topping hits, electrifying performance, and unforgettable vocals to his signature moves and sound, Usher continues to stand on culture, setting new standards for music industry and Black excellence. Usher, who is nominated for 4 awards at this year's show, headlined this year's halftime show at the Super Bowl and is currently preparing to head out on tour later this summer. A lineup of special guests has yet to be announced for the thing. I saw online somebody, this comedian who I follow, that was like, yo, BET, don't mess this up, man. Like, don't have like whack people coming and honoring Usher. Like, this is Usher. Usher has vocals. He has dance moves. And one of the people that this comedian was saying was like, you need to bring out Chris Brown. Now, Chris Brown always gets mixed reactions because of his domestic abuse with Rihanna. But I think it's time we look past that. Rihanna has put that in the past. So has Chris, and he's moved on. I would love to see Chris Brown honor Usher. I think he's the closest and only one that could do justice to honoring Usher. And there's obviously a bunch of other people. The comedian was also suggesting Tiana Taylor come out because you need some girls there. Victoria Monet. You need people with like soul vocals and that could dance if you're going to honor Usher. It's like honoring Michael Jackson. You can't just bring anybody up there. So I look forward to this. Shout out to the BET Awards. I'll be watching. I wish I could be there, man. But I'll be watching. All right, this brings us to our fourth and final speed story. Young Miami says she doesn't think Drake got a BBL. She said that's a lot of ASS. This story writes right at the bottom is like, yo, who's going to tell her it's a joke? Anyways, listen to Young Miami answer the question.
I love Drake.
So you don't think he has that BBL?
You know what a BBL is? That's a lot of ass.
All right, for those of you who are not in on the joke, yeah, Metro says that Drake has a BBL. I think even Joe Budden said it, but it's not that we think he has a BBL. It's the thing that he got his abs done, so that he got fat sucked out of his stomach and got like his abs a little bit pronounced. We all know that Drake doesn't have a BBL, Young Miami. Like, no, he didn't take the fat and put it in his butt. But just because it's funnier to say, instead of saying Drake had cosmetic surgery, you say, yo, Drake had a BBL, because most girls take fat out their stomach and put it in his butt. But we all know Drake ain't put the fat back in his butt, yo. These are perfect stories for Friday's Trend Out Loud podcast. All right, let's move on to question of the day, man. All right, this brings us to question of the day. I thought this was appropriate for yesterday. Yesterday was most people's payday. And the question of the day is, have y'all ever had weekly pay? My mind is blown. So anyway, I just flipped it to say, what do you prefer, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly pay? So here are some people's answers, okay? Somebody said, I don't mind if it's weekly or bi-weekly. We still need 6 jobs in this economy. Nadka Marie said, love weekly pay. I'm never broke. Malika Berrydoll said, weekly pay is a little dangerous for me because in the back of my mind, I could blow it all this week and get it back next week. Bi-weekly pays makes me a little bit more responsible because if I blow it, I got wait a little longer to get it back. Hillary.Banks _ said, weekly and daily pay. I cannot believe companies are still making their employees wait 2 whole weeks to get paid. Daily pay? What kind of job are you working at where you're getting daily pay? All right. Somebody said weekly or bi-weekly doesn't make a difference in this economy. Take Me Vain 82 said, I'm a hairstylist. I live life like a drug dealer in the 80s. All right, I guess she gets paid daily. Somebody says, I hate weekly pay. The checks are small AF. Somebody said bi-weekly should be illegal. What are you talking about, man? Jay Schross something, can't pronounce it, said, I'm not that responsible. My I get paid next week mentality will bankrupt me. All right, here, finally somebody's saying something about monthly. Somebody said monthly pay should be illegal and should be monthly bills. And what? Oh, and so should monthly bills. We need options. All right, whatever. Somebody said daily pay will have you left with no paycheck. All right, here one last person says something about monthly. I used to have monthly pay when I was a math teacher. Baby, on the 23rd of every month, I was hungry and skinny, then right back to full and fat on the 9th. Anyways, listen, I've worked for myself pretty much my entire life, but I still provided myself with a paycheck. Now, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I love monthly pay, if not at least bi-weekly. And it's for exactly the same reason of what these people are complaining about. you could budget yourself so much easier that way. So like, do you want to get your money every week so that you don't go broke? Or do you want to be able to have enough money where you're not living paycheck to paycheck? And that's the time when you could be the most responsible. What I do is that I put everything on my credit card and then I pay it off every month before interest starts. So I get my points, but I am cognizant of knowing what I can afford and what I can't afford. So it doesn't matter really when you pay me, as long as you pay me for the month, because I'm putting everything on my credit card. I'm getting my points. I never carry around cash anyways. So whether you're using your debit card or you're using your credit card, I put everything on my credit card. I got all my points. I got everything organized. I can look at the end of the month and see, okay, this is everything that I spent. That's another reason why I don't like cash. You don't even remember what you spent. At the end of the month, you're like, whoa, I spent this amount. This was a little too high, or I had a great month. I stayed right in my budget, or wow, I had an amazing month. I didn't even spend anything. So it doesn't matter when you pay me, weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, I'm still going to have the same spending habits. And for all those who said weekly, I think you should take a page out of my book and pretend like you're getting paid monthly and just really budget yourself before you get yourself in trouble. All right, this brings us to sports news. Bronny limits his NBA workouts to the Lakers and Suns after rejecting over 10 invitations. Did y'all hear about this, man? Like, he rejected 10 invitations. I heard when he was at like the tryouts and all that stuff that like all the scouts were like, he's not ready, but he got 10 invitations. Now, did he get 10 invitations because we all know that LeBron is going to go wherever Bronny is? Or did he get 10 invitations because people really want to see him play? Anyways, I have a little quick story. It says, Bronny James narrows his focus, choosing to skip NBA pre-draft workout with all teams except Lakers and the Suns. So I don't know why he threw the Suns in there, but whatever. Bronny James was scheduled to work out with 10 NBA teams, but he declined all of them except for the Lakers and the Suns. Phoenix will legitimately be considering Bronny at number 22 overall. It looks like Bronny's probably going to make it to the NBA, y'all. I don't know. There's a lot of hate on this. Let me know what you guys think about it. Send me an email, trentoutloud@cfqr600.com. Comment under this YouTube video or send me a DM at any of my social handles at TrentOutLoud. And yeah, I'm not even going to give you my opinion, man. It's Friday. I'm going home. This is over. The week is over. I had a great week hanging out with you guys. I'm going to go. And I still don't know what I'm doing. I still don't know what I'm going to do. I have little like mini plans, but we'll see if they'll work out. Anyways, thank you so much for kicking it with me this entire week. Before we leave, got to do a little bit of housekeeping and remind y'all where you can check out the Trent Out Loud podcast. If you're used to watching this podcast on YouTube or listening to it on podcast platforms, please try to check us out on CFQR600.com. or 600 AM in the Montreal area. It's my favorite place for you guys to watch or listen to the Trent Out Loud podcast. I don't know, I just feel like it's just fun, man. Like listening to the podcast while listening to your favorite 90s and 2000s hip hop and R&B. It's just a great way to digest the podcast and how we set it up. I just think it's a vibe, man, and I want y'all to check it out. On the flip side, if you're used to listening to this podcast on CFQR600.com or on the radio in Montreal, and you can't always make it, I do understand you can't always be there from 11 to 12 every day. You're busy. You have your own life to do. You have your own life to live. Don't worry. You can always catch us on YouTube or on podcast platforms. Just go to your desired platform, type in Trent Out Loud. I will pop up there with a big smile. It will say Trent Out Loud. Don't forget to hit the follow button, hit the subscribe button so you can be notified every time we upload a show, and we upload a show daily. All right, y'all. That is it. The week is a wrap. I will see y'all on Monday. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Have fun. Peace. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Peace.